The Imperium of Man has a variety of different warships, voidcrafts and aircrafts in its arsenal, all of them serving different purposes, from the fast interceptors used by the Aeronautica Imperialis, to the battle barges of the Adeptus astartes, to the massive battleships of the Imperial Navy. All of them serve distinct roles in combat. Most of them can be easily seen from afar as they approach the war zones of the grim dark galaxy, but there are some here that are like ghosts in the wind, like shadows in the night, moving silently to get into position and unleash their deadly payload of either weapons or superhuman soldiers. These here are the stealth crafts of the Imperium of Man, and let's dive into them. To begin this topic, we must first begin with addressing the method of ship and aircraft detection here in this universe, and then go to how a specialized vessel or a vehicle can avoid being detected by such things. So here, also called as auger arrays, these are hyper-advanced sensor systems used to detect and analyze objects in space or on planets. They work like supercharged combinations of radar, infrared, sonar and other scanning technologies, all rolled into one. These systems can actively or passively scan their surroundings by sending out signals that bounce off of ships or structures, or they can passively listen for heat, radiation or energy signatures given off by engines, weapons or other systems. In the far future of 40K, even electromagnetic emissions from the bodies of void ships or faint gas entrails from engines are indicators which can be picked up by these hyper-advanced systems, thus getting past any one of these is next to impossible, but not entirely impossible as you would find out. The first method of stealth here is called reflex shielding, which is a top secret technology only applied by the Raven Guard Space Marine chapter, the Astartes sons of Corvus Corax, who are famous for their use of stealth in combat, from space engagements to combat on the ground, like what we saw in the recent Raptor Shot movie. So what is this reflex shielding? This is a special type of stealth technology only used by the Raven Guard to hide their ships from enemies. Okay, so void shields, as to how they work in a nutshell, is like this. This emitted force, the void shields, isn't a physical barrier between ships and the void or from attacks, but some sort of controlled vortex that covers the ship and diverts beams, lasers and other weapons directly into the warp. Thus anything that touches this void shield does not get inside but is reflected into the Imperium. The reflex shielding is the opposite, so imagine a void shield which is inverted, with the outer layer facing towards the ship itself, and this bends everything the ship emits like heat, energy and even reflected light. It bends it inwards and dumps it into the warp. This makes the ship completely invisible to both the eye and scanners. These shields use very little power, so they can stay active for long periods of time. However, the downside is that while the shield is on, the ship's own sensors don't work properly, making it hard for them to see what's around them. Also, reflex shields offer no defense in battle and can't be quickly switched back to normal shielding, so the ship has to stay quiet and hidden or risk being caught vulnerable. To the auger arrays and scanning arrays throughout a star system, a starship that activates reflex shielding would seem to just disappear and melt away into the stars. Interestingly enough, to the naked eye, it wouldn't be entirely invisible but would seem to shimmer first, as all visible light would then be diverted into the warp by the inverted void shield, until eventually the vessel is rendered effectively invisible to all sensors and to the naked eye alike. But again, this shielding, this technology is ancient, thus making it rare and hard to replicate. Only certain ships of the Raven Guard are installed with them. One such ship was the Gloriana-class battle barge called the Shadow of the Emperor, which is the flagship of the Legion. The reflex shield technology found in the Shadow of the Emperor back in the Horus Heresy days and before that, and then on other vessels, was first created by the tech priest of the Mechanicum on the forge world of Kayavaru, the same planet tied to the Raven God's home moon called Deliverance. This system changed how a ship's warp drive and void shields work by tuning them differently and turning the shield inwards. This made the Gloriana-class ship nearly invisible by sending all of its energy and emissions directly into the warp. This fits perfectly with the Raven Guard's hit and run tactics. letting their ships sneak in close, strike hard, and disappear without a trace. Since the Reflex shield didn't use much power, the flagship of the Legion back then could stay hidden almost indefinitely. But sadly, this ship was destroyed in the battle over Isvan 5. Another ship that could potentially have this technology is the current flagship of the Raven Guard chapter, the Raven's Claw. This vessel is one of the oldest and most revered ships in the fleet of the Sons of Korax, and it has none of the sensor towers or sanctums that protrude out of the body of most battle barges. This makes its body smoother and able to deflect scanner signals, a decision that the Raven Guard made sure in order to keep the Ravenclaw's profile as small as possible, and coupled with the reflex shielding, it becomes one of the stealthiest ships in the entire Imperium. Then there are 3 aircrafts or types of aircrafts of the Raven Guard which are also stealth capable, and they are next to impossible to be detected by auger arrays. The first here is the Shadowhawk, which was developed as a stealth variant of the Thunderhawk, and it has all manners of advanced technologies that makes it invisible to all but the most sensitive of augurs. As the standard Thunderhawk began replacing the older Stormbird dropships during the Horus Heresy and the Great Crusade, the Raven Guard ensured that they had their own specialized version. They developed their version called the Shadowhawk, which incorporated stealth-focused modifications which are tailored to the Legion's infiltration style. Though specific details are scarce to say the least, its distinction from standard Thunderhawks suggests that the Shadowhawks were optimized for lower visibility and for quieter insertion missions. Their stealthy frames would have been assisted with cloaking devices developed by the tech guilds of Kayavaru, which would then make them next to invisible. The next is the Dark Wing pattern of Storm Eagles, which is a special version of the Storm Eagle gunship, used only by the Raven Guard. It is equipped with rare ancient technologies from the Dark Age of technology, which are advanced systems that even the tech priests of Mars don't fully understand. Much of this secret technology came from the tech guilds of Kayavaru, who shared it only with the Raven Guard and kept it hidden from the wider Mechanicum. The main focus of the Dark Wing's upgrades is of course stealth. It has special radiation shrouded armor plating that hides it from enemy sensors, just like the composite plating on the B-2 bomber aircraft of the current day, which makes it invisible to radar. It also has quantum field repellers that help it avoid detection. However, these systems take up extra space inside the aircraft, so the Dark Wing cannot carry as many troops as the standard model of the Storm Eagles. But like the Storm Eagle, it is still equipped with deadly weapons, like a forward-mounted twin-ling heavy bolters and a dorsal-mounted Vengeance rocket launcher. So next, like the other 2 aircrafts, the Whisper Cutter is also a stealth aircraft of the Raven Guard and would have incorporated similar or basically the same cloaking technologies. It is built around a gravitic impeller propulsion system, and this aircraft is open-topped. Its airframe has an open ceiling, but it could still silently deploy up to 10 Space Marines directly into enemy territory. Its key strength here was complete stealth, able to move with no engine noise and avoid detection by anything almost entirely. Designed to deliver elite infiltration units like the Mor Dathan and the Dark Fury Assault Squads, the Whisper Cutter focuses on sudden, silent strikes appearing out of nowhere, and then after deploying the squads, it would vanish into nowhere just as quickly. However, due to their open-top designs, they could only be active within the atmosphere and cannot be dropped from orbit like the other 2. Okay, so the first stealth aircraft here, which isn't of the Raven Guard, is the Corvus Blackstar of the Death Watch. It is a fast and deadly attack aircraft used only by the elite Death Watch Space Marines. While not as stealthy as the Raven Guard's crafts, it is still known for its ability to slip past enemy defenses with precision. It is sleek and agile. The Blackstar is both a dropship and a gunship. It is built for striking deep into enemy territories. Think of it like a blade sliding between the ribs of a giant. It is small enough to avoid detection, but still powerful enough to cause serious damage where it counts. Some even whisper that it has hidden stealth technology which is inbuilt, and it could possibly be a cloaking device which has been retrieved from Archaeotech of the Dark Age of technology, thus making it even harder for enemies to spot before it hits. Its weapons are highly advanced for an aircraft of its size, and it is capable of wreaking havoc on alien strongholds. The Corvus Black Star also has durable armor, which is strong enough to shrug off direct hits from enemy fire, and it is armed with 4 Stormstrike missiles, and also coupled with twin-link assault cannons. Now, if you think the Imperium of Man doesn't have mega-sized space UAVs with planet-killing abilities, then you're in for a wild ride. They do have them, and these things are super stealthy too. The ones we're talking about are the kill ships of the Death Watch. They are special automated or drone weapon systems that are used for exterminators when a planet is considered completely lost to the enemies of the Imperium. These drone ships are run by incredibly advanced machine spirits that are built for one job only: the complete destruction of a world. To do this, kill ships are equipped with some of the fastest engines and the strongest shields known to the Imperium. They also have a rare cloaking technology from the ancient Dark Age of technology, which lets them slip into enemy territory without being seen, and they can evade all types of auger arrays. Quietly they enter a star system, sneak past defenses, drop their deadly payload, and then use the planet's gravity to slingshot away at high speed. As it escapes, the world behind it is destroyed, and it thus leaves nothing behind but ash and ruin. So there was this one ship called the Tarnhelm, which was a very highly advanced stealth ship created during the Horus Heresy under the direct orders from Malcador the Sigillite. It was constructed and crafted on Titan, with a size that wasn't huge enough to be a capital ship, but larger and more powerful than any attack craft. It was specifically designed for a daring infiltration mission, to sneak aboard the Sons of Horus flagship, the Vengeful Spirit, and deliver a strike team of the Knights Errant, the would-be Grey Knights. This ship was subtle enough to get close to one of the most heavily guarded warships in the entire galaxy, a feat that speaks volumes about its stealth capabilities. However, the team was discovered, and in a daring move, the Tarnhelm had to reveal itself by opening fire on Lupercal's court, which was a bold move in order to provide a distraction and to save the operatives. So while the ship was extremely stealthy, its mission showed that even the best cloaking device can't really guarantee complete invisibility when going up against a Primarch's flagship. Then, in the current era, there is one ship called the Imperium, which was used by the Inquisition, more specifically by the Ordo Hereticus. Its mission was long-term surveillance, which is tracking an Emperor's Children fleet across the stars. So for months it remained undetected, quietly trailing and watching and recording the traitor's movements. The Imperium's stealth systems are clearly effective enough to shadow a Chaos fleet without being noticed, which is no small feat considering the Emperor's Children are known for their heightened senses and warp-twisted awareness. Its ability to maintain its covert observation over such a long time without engaging or alerting the enemy shows that its stealth systems are among the most refined in the Inquisition's arsenal, and clearly amongst the entire Imperium. And last of all we have the Dark Sovereign, which was this legendary and ancient warship of the Dark Angels Legion during the Great Crusade and the Horus Heresy. Unlike anything else in the fleet, it dated back to the Dark Age of technology, and it was discovered buried deep beneath the frozen waves of Ganymede, the moon of Jupiter. It was sleek and deadly. The ship was sable black in color and shaped like a massive wicked blade. Its hull was almost completely seamless, with no markings except a single winged sword of the Dark Angels, their emblem. What truly set the Dark Sovereign apart was its advanced cloaking systems, which are essentially lost technologies from mankind's golden age, and thus with them, it becomes one of the most stealth-capable vessels in the nascent Imperium of the 30th millennium. It could vanish from sight and auspexes alike, striking without warning, armed with devastating vortex torpedoes and high-yield cannons, and protected by powerful void shields that could endure withering enemy fire, as it was both a ghost and a juggernaut at the same time. Now next here, before we end, we have a notable mention for semi-stealth of normal ships, and this is a tactic rather than a technology. It is called silent running, one which is used by the Imperial Navy and the Adeptus astartes, especially the White Scars during the Third War for Armageddon. The idea was simple but incredibly risky. A ship, whether a cruiser or a battleship, is set on a pre-calculated course straight towards the enemy. Then all systems are shut down. Engines, communications, weapons, even life support systems are tuned down to the bare minimum. Thus, with no active emissions, the vessel becomes nearly invisible at the vast distances of void combat, essentially vanishing from enemy scanners. The ship then drifts silently through space like a ghost, and if timed correctly, the crew can power everything back on right in the middle of the enemy fleet, catching them completely off guard and causing havoc. The tactic demanded expert precision, perfect timing, and nerves of steel. However, it is rarely used. Now, if you like this video, then check this other one too. And if you want to browse for other sci-fi and Warhammer content, then check out our channel. So subscribe and like for support. Till the next time, take care, boys.